G'day everyone. Today I thought I'd try and give some quick videos a shot just to try and get some more activity happening on the channel. I've just been really busy. I haven't really had much time to film videos or anything like that. So today I'm just going to have a look at what I've got on my desk at the moment, and some people might find that interesting, some people might not. There's going to be absolutely no editing here, so if I stumble and say something silly or something along those lines, then yeah, that's just bad luck. So anyway, the first thing I'm going to look at, which I found actually in a box of junk, is a fake Seiko. So generally the term that the hobbyists use for these is Fakos, which is a mix of fake and Seiko. So if you have a look at them, the dials look pretty good usually on these, but ultimately what's behind is a piece of crap. So this one came in this condition, which is terrible condition, missing bezels and all sorts of stuff. Now usually the giveaway with these is actually the push button there. Now what that push button does is it changes the date, but these Seiko DXs, they never came with a movement which had a push button on it, ever. So that's all totally wrong. Also, they never came with the day like that. It was always a full day, and yeah, not in that position usually. And yeah, if you look at some of the other stuff, the logo there, the little DX one, you probably won't see it on camera, but it just doesn't look right. So the DX logo is normally the same height as the Seiko logo, because they're made out of the same material. Also, the other thing that gives them away is the 5 badges up there, whereas it should be there, and also the DXs usually weren't labelled with 5 on them. So if we have a look at what's in there, oh, look at that, it just fell out. So we'll just take that away. So that's the movement here, and I'm not going to be particularly gentle with this thing. So if we turn it over, that's what we have. So that doesn't resemble any movement that Seiko's ever made. And yeah, it's some sort of copy of probably a Swiss movement. I'm sure someone like a Adolf Schild movement or something like that. But yeah, I can't see any marks on there. So yeah, they've tried to be smart about it. They've just stamped it Seiko there, which the rotors were never marked like that. But yeah, the movement just doesn't resemble anything that Seiko's ever made whatsoever. So I think it's a Chinese clone of an Adolf Schild movement, and I'm sure someone out there can tell me which one it is. I can't remember off the top of my head. This has been discussed dozens of times in forums and stuff like that, and they figured it out ages ago, but I can't remember what the answer was. But that's what's inside of these. They're just crap. So when going for these, you have to be really discerning as to what's actually in there. And we used to see a lot of these, not so much anymore, because everyone knows that they're out there and to avoid them. But yeah, usually they're in poor condition. They just don't run well, and they're a terrible investment. So we'll just put that one aside, close to the bin, probably where it belongs. I had this come in this week today, so this is one that'll go in my fleet. So it's a 6139-7020, and these are the ones with the oddball cases. So they have lugs like that, which is a bit weird. They're kind of like a UFO-ish type thing. It didn't come with a bracelet, but I've got a Marriman bracelet here, which I think suits it fairly well. I'll keep a lookout for the original bracelet, but they're quite hard to find, that's the problem. So this is a Japanese domestic model. Mark the speed timer on the dial, and it's a 21 jewel version of this movement as well. There's not a whole lot of differences between the 17 and the 21 jewel movement. There's a cap jewel on the dial side of the movement, or calendar side, depending on which way you want to look at it, and that is on the bottom of the escape wheel, or top, again depending which way you look at it, but it's on the calendar side anyway. There's also a dual in the winding frame, so it gives us another 2, and I think from memory there's also one on the intermediate. Actually, I'm sounding very silly, so what I'll do is I'll actually do a video just comparing both of these plates, and I'll tell you where the extra jewels are. But the most important one is actually the one that's on the escape wheel, so that's on the calendar side. But yeah, to make the difference in the 4 jewels, I'll pull some plates out and I'll do a video and we can do a comparison. Performance wise, there's probably not much there. It's nice to have the escape wheel on a cap jewel, so it's technically a die fixed jewel, so it's got a cap with a little spring on it, and that just helps to cushion out the escape wheel from vibration and movement and stuff like that. So that one, I don't know when I'll get to it, but I'll fix it up later at some point. So I'll put that aside. So I've just finished this one for a customer. Now this one here has an aftermarket dial, aftermarket rotating ring, and I think that was about it. But yeah, some of these newer aftermarket dials are nearly impossible to differentiate from an original dial. This one's one of the best ones I've ever seen. The only way you can pick it is that the chronograph automatic text is slightly different to the original, but beyond that, very hard to pick. They've even got the sub-dial right. You can see there it's not splined or anything like that, so they've done a really good job on these. I'm not promoting aftermarket parts, but I'm surprised at how good they've got in the past few years. I remember when I first started doing this, the aftermarket dials were shoddy and terrible, but they've really lifted their game quite a lot. Again, like I said, I don't promote aftermarket parts. I know they're out there. People use them. Some, in my opinion, I think they're probably, if you've got a watch that's totally trashed, it might be a good way of getting it back on the wrist. However, most people's objection to it is that a lot of people sell these watches with aftermarket parts and say they're original, so that's the dishonest side about it. So I think if you're honest about it and you don't lie, you say, look, aftermarket dial, whatever, I don't really see a problem with it at all. So we'll put that one aside, and I just finished this one today as well. So this is the gold feather. So these are actually quite a thin movement, and it's the 60M movement. Now I've done a teardown of this movement, which needs some editing, so I just haven't got around to doing it yet. But yeah, they're quite a nice little watch, the gold feathers. And this one's keeping time as well, which is always a good thing. But yeah, quite a nice movement. They're 25 jewels. Well, this one is. They had a 17 jewel variant as well. But yeah, they're quite oddball. It's a gold-filled case. The crown was totally collapsed, but I managed to rebuild it and retain the original crown. How it'll hold up, I'm not sure. That could be an issue in the future. However, it's not an issue right this second. So that's what these are. But yeah, just there's such a thin movement. If I've got a ruler here, I actually work in an absurdly small place, so I've just got stuff on top of stuff on this desk here at the moment, and I can't locate my ruler, so I can't measure it for you right this second. But yeah, they're exceptionally thin. And there you go, that's the gold feather. These are a manual one, they're not an automatic. Alright, so the next one, I did a teardown video on this, which is the 6218. This was the one with the excessive, ridiculous jewels. So that one's all running. Now in this one I actually had to replace the balance wheel. It was slightly bent, so it would run great I'll start again. It would run great, dial down, but then as soon as you put it up, dial up, it would run really badly. The amplitude would go down and it would just stop constantly. So the balance wheel was just very slightly bent, and what it was doing, it was actually just just touching the inside of the pallet cock there, not the pallet cock, the balance cock. It would just clip it and it would just slow down and just run poorly. So that's what ended up happening with that one. But now it's running pretty good. The amplitude on this is over 280 degrees, which is about what you'd expect for them. And it's accurate to within a few seconds a day on the time grapher, but on the wrist these do vary quite a bit. So we'll just put that one aside, and then we'll just go over to some of the new tools. So this one here, this is a hand setting tool for the 70 series chronographs. That's a 7017, 7016 and 7018. So I'm just waiting for some more hardware to arrive for these. So they're going to have another one of those flat-headed screws that comes up through here, and there's going to be pushers going through here, and they're going to have a circlip on this side and a spring there. So the overall fit, finish and function of the tool will be slightly better. And when I've got this released, I'll then revise the 501 tool, which is for the 6139 and 6138, and put those improvements over there as well. So when I go to the 6139 and 6138 tool, I may consider getting rid of the extra spigot for the minute counter, because I don't really think it's needed. They never take too much pressure to go on, and I don't think there's much risk of the bush being pushed out at all on them. And I'd rather actually put the time and effort into putting sprung pushers on here than having to spend time to machine another screw to go in there. So that's where they're going. This design I've had sitting around for ages, and I thought I'll finally get it finished up and released. So that little port there is just so that you can view where the screw is sitting in relation to the plate. So the bottom of the plate's there, and you'll see the screw coming up through there, and you'll just be able to have a little viewing port there just to line it up. So the next tool which I've got here, which I've just released, is a tool for the Arnold Schwarzenegger watch, so the H558. And these are always a real pain in the neck to work with, just because they're such an awkward movement. So what this tool does is you can assemble the train in there. Now this was always a real hassle for me, in my opinion, to put together, because you can't lay it flat because it's got the wheels going through the plate there, so you need a hole for it to sit in, and no movement holder, the adjustable ones or anything, really hold it very well. So that's for that side of it. And then on the other side you've got the plastic section, which again is a part that was always really difficult to hold without breaking. So probably about half of these that I see are broken somewhere and have been repaired or not repaired. And that goes in there, and the idea of it is that you put this guy in here and assemble the train, and then you move it over here and you put the plastic chassis down. Now I'm doing this some way away from, actually it goes this way. I'm doing this some way away from the camera, so I might be a little bit wobbly. And that goes on there. There we go. So these are always really awkward to put together as well. No movement holder holds it very well. So I've just decided to go with this sort of layout. But you can see there it holds it very securely. Now underneath here, because these don't sit flat, I don't know if you can see that there, but they actually slant down there, so you can't just lay these flat on anything. So I've designed it so that it's that section, that's where the LCD goes. So I've designed it so that that section, and I'll just get this out, it's just supported under there so you don't break it when you're putting the LCD on. But I'm hoping this should make it a lot easier to assemble these without breaking or damaging them. And they're already on eBay, so you can buy one today if you want. When designing these, one of the big enemies of 3D printing is actually long flat surfaces. So I've put in some slots here and here just to try and reduce the surface area of the flat surfaces. It's not to make it lighter or save on material. The amount of material that it saves is so minuscule it's not worth worrying about. And yeah, weight's not really an issue either. But yeah, that's that movement, and I'll probably wrap that up there. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll try and get some more stuff out soon. I have some videos I've got to edit and get out. I just haven't had time. But yeah, I'll end that here, and yeah, hope to see you again next time.